All right, here we go into Quick Scope. The one thing I was surprised by is nobody mentioned Rise Nation on that introduction. On our last episode, Ben said, Rise, and I quote, nothing to worry about. It was going to be easy for them. Yet, they've taken some hits this week, being put to the test by Tainted Minds, getting reverse swept by United, and then getting blown out of the water by Complexity. Are we seeing the fall of Rise, or is Looney in the game just having an off week? Chance, what do you think?
Definitely an off week, but I'm still very, very concerned for the team. Like, if you go into a week and you take the two Australian teams to a Game 5 and your other two games are just straight-up losses, that's cause for concern. If you're losing more hard points these 2 weeks than you have pretty much ever, if you're losing more CTFs and searches, they're losing more in all 3 game modes. And then, of course, overall, their CTF really has never been overwhelmingly great, always solid, but now it's the point where they're below average. And then you think of, like, their S&D, which has been their backbone, what every single team, like all of them, even guys in open bracket, are studying them, learning their strategies, figuring out what to do, because they've always been in the grand finals.
Yeah, why would you
Everyone's been taking notes. Like, you have to take notes on this team, and it seems like teams are starting to crack the code a little bit, going toe-to-toe more, having closer rounds. Are Rise tough to beat? Yes. But there's a lot of great juggernauts coming in the wings. There's rosters that got formed at Anaheim that we haven't seen the full potential of. Come playoffs, come champs, they're going to be at their best. And, well, Rise Nation is good, but they need to be worried with the performances they've been having.
Rise Nation don't need to be worried at all. I mean, your opening point for the first topic was basically the competition level. So I'm not surprised teams are playing them tougher for many reasons that you were talking about, but they are fine. Chance, who would be your favorite to win Stage 2 playoffs?
Stage 2 playoffs, at the moment, I would say Rise. But
Chance, who would be your favorite to win champs right now?
Champs, it depends on playoffs. Who knows at that point? There's too many good teams
right now, if you had to pick, right now.
If I had to pick, I wouldn't pick. There's no point in picking because we don't know.
You'd say Rise, Chance. You'd say Rise. My point is, until they're not my favorite, Rise Nation are fine. And I know it was a bit of an off week, bit of a weird week, but this team is going to be totally fine. They're way too stacked. There's way too much talent. And I know there's been some hiccups along the way, but if anything, losing is learning. Being challenged right now might really help Rise Nation in the long run realize some of their flaws. These deep series, these 5-game series, might be more beneficial to them come Stage 2 playoffs and champs. If they just came out here and 3-0 bopped everyone, that could actually maybe hurt them in the long run. Maybe they don't learn from those series. I think overall, Rise are totally fine. They're still my favorites throughout the remainder of the year. Settle it down, Chance.
What are they learning, though? Like, what do they have to learn at this point? They've been the team that's teaching everybody else, and you say, like, too talented to fail or too much talent on the team, but how about ASTRO Gaming, for example? A new roster that's formed that toe-to-toe has maybe more talent than Rise Nation, like Crim6 versus Looney. Let's be realistic. Scump versus TJ. TJ at the beginning of the year, I'll give it to him, but we expect, like, Scump of all people to return
Are
to
Optic your back-to-back champs?
And then the ARs are
Optic your
fantastic.
back-to-back champs?
We haven't seen them. We got to see them play Rise again.
Can
Optic,
they get there?
yes, they look shaky in search, but if they clean up the search, their respawn has looked like the best team in the game. Yes, they've had shaky maps, but again, we're talking about them getting better. They didn't have the greatest of Anaheims. They couldn't. They're a new roster. Other teams have been playing for longer, but they're getting that form, and that's why for playoffs, yes, Rise Nation's still the favorite. There's no question about that. Best team in the game. But the question was, do they need to be concerned? And the answer, especially with the performances they just had, absolutely yes.
All right, I like that. I think both of you brought a lot to the table there. For Chance, I think, yeah, it's time. Yeah, be a little bit concerned. You didn't play the toughest competition. Teams might be catching up. The one thing I'll say, you brought up ASTRO Gaming, but even the last roster, you could probably argue had more talent. What was the one game mode that always plagued them? Search and destroy, and it's why they forced a roster change. That's why you have a brand new ASTRO Gaming. Side of Maven? Yes, I agree with you. It's a bit of a hangover from Anaheim. They come into this week maybe a little lackluster. If there is a time to struggle, it is right now. It's time to wake up, Rise Nation, because this week was pathetic. So in terms of points, I'm going to give 1 point to Maven because you said a Chance. Rise still the favorites to win Stage 2. But this week coming up is a big one. We'll see if Rise can step up to the competition.